Hi, Diane. All right, 6:45. I'd like to call this meeting of the Madison Board of Ed Special Facilities Committee meeting to order. It is 6:45. We have three items on our agenda. First is a review of the 2025-2026 CIP requests, followed by a discussion of the town ad hoc facilities committee requests, and then public comment at the end. I'll send it right over to you.
Okay, so let's, you all have a copy of the SIP, and I'm gonna refer mostly to the beige column here, which is the 2025-2026 SIP request. And there's 5 items of interest on there that we need to review. First, we'll go facilities planning, planning and engineering, which is 25,000. That's for general issues and projects that we do throughout the year for the planning and processes for that. There's $75,000 for school security upgrades, as we have it as an ongoing project. And both of those projects, by the way, are ongoing throughout the years, is to keep upgrades and go through planning and engineering to get projects moving as forward and keep them going. If we skip down to the Daniel Hand High School, which is item number DHHS 010, which is $14,000 for restoration of the main driveway and parking from Green Hill Road to the school. Actually, it's just to keep regular maintenance. Most asphalt areas last for 20 to 25 years. We're at that point with this section of the driveway. If we go and skip down to now on page 2, it might be on your back page, BS 002. Which is $200,000 for the FF&E and move management. That's to supplement the funding of $800,000, which is already for Brown School for furnitures, fixtures, and equipment, and also to help out with the moves that are going to be occurring from Ryerson to Brown, and also from Jeffrey, any of the furniture that may be going up to Jeffrey to Brown as well. So that's to help offset those costs. Down to the athletic fields, which is AT 002, is $1,500,000 or $1,511,192 for a new turf field on the baseball field. That supplements the $94,650 for planning of that turf field. So the grand total for, it's kind of hard to read in that white print, but I can give it to you right here, is $1,825,192 for the 2025-2026 SIP year. What we were trying to do is we've done some adjustments and we've moved some things in and out of the SIP to try to get a more level funding across the SIP. So if we look at this, the BOE CIP totals, which are, they're a little difficult to read, but they're easier in the blue. You'll see that the next year is 1.4 or 1.5 million, 1.489558. The next year is 815,748. The following year is 1,384,699. And then there's the anomaly year of 2930 of 4 million, which includes the high school roof. So we're at the end of life at the roof right now. We're just trying to keep it and hang on as long as we can, but we've got to get it in the 5-year mix. I'm happy to review any of the numbers in the blue field if you have any questions about that, which are the outer years of the 5-year plan. We can either go right over them right now, or we can, if there's any questions on them, I'm happy to answer any questions that we have on that.
If I could just jump in. So committee members may be seeing a reduction in what we have asked. And so Peter and Ben have worked on this pretty much all summer, kind of reviewing projects and looking at things. And the biggest changes come at Polson Middle School. The reason for that is that, and Emily could speak to this as well. We have done a lot of work over the summer on the Polson HVAC and auditorium project, and some of the options that may be coming out of that include lesser costs for the AC part of that project that would allow us to do other upgrades at Polson that normally would be CIP type projects. So for instance, roof may be possible out of that, the windows may be possible out of that, flooring and other projects at Polson. So Polson, as we know, was a building we needed to do a lot of work on, and that had a lot of CIP work. So that was kind of held back with this good option that we have, and the board will be part of those discussions coming on, but we're waiting for kind of some more fine-tuned cost in those areas to really tie that down. The other piece with Polson is, I think we've learned this summer that the most, speaking for Peter here, but probably the most difficult project for him to manage all summer was the smaller project at Polson for, 4 bathrooms and some door projects. And so that's still coming down to the wire here, whereas the Brown project was much easier with a bigger project. So they were feeling, both Ben and Peter were feeling like, put money all together in 1 year versus say $100,000 chunks differently like we had done before, which wasn't a bad plan at the time, but doing that all together in a bigger chunk of funding would be easier for them to manage. So it's not every summer they're looking to do a smaller project, but maybe, a bigger project in one particular summer. Hopefully,
Yeah, I mean, add a little bit to that. And what it was is that we've actually separated or segregated some of the projects out so that we can actually maintain school while we do these projects. We can isolate certain areas of the building out very easily for these larger ends, such as the auditorium and the gymnasium. And then we focus on the summer for the projects with the kids that cannot be in school while we do them, to hit those hard and get that done. So there's been a lot of work behind the scenes, and some of this is going to be coming up in the next few months, and you'll get a real good feel for what's happening. It's all really, really good news.
Help me understand where these numbers fit in the continuum. This is new money that is being requested.
So this would be
The process.
the gray column. We submit to the Board of Select people, and they would then submit that to their whole CIP. So the town CIP, they have their own town CIP for projects at the surf club or the police station or things like that. And then they put that all together and they submit that to the Board of Finance. So it's a separate project, separate process than our budget, but it is part of the town budget. So it's one of the 3 functions of the total town percentage budget. It's a board budget, town budget, and CIP. Are the 3 major pieces of the budget when they get to that. So we were very successful this past year in getting a pretty large CIP request through. Other years we have not had quite so much, but they would like it from us. Typically they want it, I guess, so we're a little bit behind, but we do have a meeting of this committee on September 3rd, and then we have the board meeting on September 3rd. So our thought would be we would review this again on September 3rd, and then ask the full board to approve it on September 3rd, and then we can submit it to Stacy Novitz, who puts that together for the town.
I have a quick question. So I see the pavement restoration of the main driveway and parking for hand for the 25, 26, and then 26, 27. But we're also looking at Polson, there's pavement restoration driveway front and back with parking, and that's not until 27, 28. Would there be any sort of savings to do those 2 together? And is that going to be done like over the summer for hand? It just seems like, I don't know if it's done that way on purpose, like to keep one open and the other one not, but would there be savings just to do the whole thing in one fell swoop?
There's certainly some savings that can be gained as a result of doing everything in one shot. It would probably be better at this point, looking at the line items, then to push the hand project out that following year so that you can do it that way. That would decrease the budget for next year by $2 million, or $216,000, and then bring the funding up to almost $1 million. So it would be more balanced. That we could certainly do that. The 14,000 is really to start the planning process, and in that planning, we could certainly get Polson and Hand all in one shot. That's a great idea. We could do that.
And
I mean, if it's a substantial savings and it's not gonna, change the timeline too much, I mean,
We're not.
I don't really have a thought one way or the other right now about the impact on the year-to-year end budget, but I just saw the two paving projects very close and thought, why not do it as one?
Yeah, my only concern would be the size of the project at that point, and getting it done over the summer. That's my only concern.
What
So
does
it's
anybody
not
else
about-
think about that?
yeah, I mean, it's not about having one access, like Diane said, then, correct? It would be over the summer, there'd still be access to the buildings during that, or would it?
Well, there would be
second?
no access to either of the buildings if you're gonna be paving in front of that section. It would be difficult.
So
You
is
could
that a
do
reason
that.
to keep them separate? Is that?
That, and I think the timing of it too, is that it becomes a much bigger project.
Well, it would impact summer school then as well.
Correct.
Same with exact summer school, yeah,
So we take we basically then have two schools inaccessible for one summer
exactly,
as opposed to one each summer.
correct.
Okay. It seems like
So I would suggest maybe then, since we have the first year of design money, would that be a time when we find out what
Yes.
the economies of scale
Yes.
could be? So then maybe we leave it as is, knowing that if there ever was some huge savings, or we were able to then pave more property, then we could always wait a year,
Mhm.
having secured the funding. But if we push it out and then have to do it all at once, then we're shutting down our, two biggest schools
Mhm.
for summer school. That could be problematic. Knowing that we have a Brown project that will have asbestos removal, in it as well, and shut down that building, so. I think that would be my suggestion, because you guys have done a nice job at kind of smoothing out the years. But I think that's something you definitely to keep in mind in terms of, if we were saving hundreds of thousands, then. Or significant money, we'd want to do that.
can you talk at all? I know this is before your time, Peter, but maybe others remember, like which of these items, is it the baseball fields that we've moved out a bunch? Like, it's like some of these items have been on the plan for a while and we keep pushing them. Is that one of them?
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit in terms of the baseball field, as you'll see.
Oh, yeah, we did the planning, yeah.
See the planning that
Yeah.
was approved a while ago. That planning has not happened because we didn't want to waste funding on that.
Mhm.
But we would be thrilled to be able to do that planning, and also the discussion of the lighting and review of that, and then do the baseball field. And so that's a pretty major need for us in terms of in the athletic world. This past year we had to cancel games where softball was able to play because they had synthetic turf, and baseball had to cancel because of the water.
I believe part of this too is to add more of a multi-use field
Okay.
to the outfield of the baseball field, so that they can actually have more sports participate in-house and then as opposed to being traveled out.
The, the Brown FF&E,
Yes,
200,000, as I read it, that reads as a contingency fund if it is needed. Am I reading that?
that's
correctly?
correct. That is correct.
Okay,
So that was originally $1 million request in 24-25. The Board of Finance split that. With their thoughts were that we have the $200,000, at the start of 2026, we needed that. So, they split that on us, but, we would not have that available until July 1 at the earliest. So, it could be. It would be last minute things or contingency, or things that we would do after the school opens.
so that's one of those accounts. If we use it, we use it. If we don't, it goes somewhere else.
You mentioned that the Polson numbers are less because of the HVAC work. Do you have a sense of what that number is? how much we reduce, like how much less we're looking at here because of that project? Like ballpark,
Sure. Yeah,
I'm just curious, just so for our talking.
I would have to pull out the old one.
Yeah.
And get that to you, because I believe we had like 100,000 door hardware each year and then 100,000 in bathroom ADA upgrade.
Okay,
Um,
okay, that's fine, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
Just, it's helpful for,
You'll see two projects that could come off the list that are in the out years is the windows and the roof.
other questions or comments from committee members? Diane?
No, I'm just looking at the, trying to remember. The library replacement furniture, I see it under, this is for, Polson, sorry. Under 26-27. Is that the one that we like removed from the budget this past year?
In the CIP, we kept moving that out. That was
Okay.
most traveled items. We moved that back and forth several
Yeah,
times.
hasn't that been moved like
Yeah.
at least 3
Every year.
slots to the right?
Yeah, it was prioritized some years and then pushed back other years. You know, it felt like that was a year that we could put it in that again kept things in a smooth basis, but as the board knows from when we had meetings over there, they have pretty old furniture at the library. The brown furniture will be updated, you know, through that. And then hand also needs to be done at some point, but we'd be in a good place if we can get that done at Folsom soon.
Any other comments on this?
No, there's just a lot.
I know, well, so we'll review this again at our September 3rd facilities meeting and then hopefully take action that evening at the board meeting. And if folks have any questions in the meantime, could, you know, let me know and we could work together on that.
Sure. Yes, yeah, so we'll give the board, the full board, a draft copy of this. With any changes that could happen between now and as we get close to the committee meeting. And then if we make any changes, we'll have to do that quickly and
Yeah.
update the full board.
I do appreciate the smoothing. There's not a lot of stuff that can be moved around when you're looking at it, so I appreciate all the work that you've done.
Thank you.
All right, we move to our next item, the town ad hoc facilities committee.
Yeah, so the town has developed an ad hoc facilities committee across all town buildings. I have been busy working on coming up with costs associated with operations of the buildings, whether it be personnel, utilities, fuel, maintenance. I've incorporated Beach and Rec to get the cost of any of the outside care of the buildings involved with that, to come up with a total cost versus building use of each building in the town of Madison. Before I was to release any of this stuff from the schools, I'm asking you if it's okay, I can share this information with the town's ad hoc facility committee.
So, from my opinion, I don't have as much concern, I don't have concern with the, release of information, I think it's pretty public information. My concern, as I've expressed to Peter and, Seth, who's also on the committee, is that, there's been a lot of requests directly from the committee to Peter that take a lot of his time. And so I've asked him to keep me updated on that, and then I would share that with Seth. I know Seth's been protective of Peter's time at the meetings as well. And I've had that conversation with Peggy Lyons, but it's, you know, I think it's sometimes difficult when staff are working directly with a townwide committee that are making demands of their time that may not understand that, you know, August is a very busy month for Peter and his staff, and you know that they've tried to be, they have been very accommodating, but I think we just have to be mindful of that. And I again ask Peter that if there's any concerns or it seems like it's going to be a major request bring that to us, so we can assist with that. I do know that, I do think it's a great idea that town look at all their buildings and things like that. I understand that some of the focus may be, what type of value the building adds to the town and usage and things like that. I think when it comes to our buildings, we've been very open and work well with the town, I feel. But I don't think we have the opportunities to save money by saying we're not gonna open our buildings on the weekends, they are community buildings. We wanna be able to run, Madison youth basketball, we wanna be able to run indoor soccer, we wanna be able to support Cub Scouts or anybody else who needs to utilize the building, even though that may not bring us, a profit or sometimes even break even. I think that we have that, support. We sold a building project on, the fact that we'd be bringing on another facility that would be usable by those groups. I think that, we've, the board's been very mindful of its footprint and, after this year, we'll have a 4-school footprint, which for 25,000 or 2,500 kids. Well, I know we have a few more showing up than what we were expecting, but not that many more. But 2,500 kids, that I think that's pretty reasonable and thoughtful that we have been about that. You're on the committee.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of usage of staff, I did suggest at one point that maybe because some of this information is coming directly from account information that's kept in our I forget what the name of the software is, but Munis, that maybe the fiscal folks can help a little bit with at least gathering some of the numbers and providing some of that so that, you and the facilities department don't have to necessarily do that directly. And I don't know if that'll help with, reducing some of the time. And also, I've also gently expressed that, it's hard to tell entirely, like with specificity, what the charge of the committee is. The charge is kind of broad. And some of the data they're starting to collect seems like it may be edging a little bit outside potentially of the charge. So I diplomatically push back a little on, if they're going to be talking about per square foot usage of buildings and what spaces and all of that stuff, that I think the education buildings, first of all, pointed out, we have contracted quite a bit. We're in the middle of that, going from 7 buildings down to 4. And really 8 over the last couple of years because, closed one not so long ago as well. We have to look at the educational use case as something separate because it's like a whole separate charge from your typical, is it a profit center? What kind of use, how is the town using it? So, on the other hand, I do kind of feel like if we get some good baseline numbers now, historically, for especially the energy costs and the operational costs of the buildings, then that might actually help us to recognize how much we will have saved when we go to fewer buildings that are more efficient. So I'm monitoring, you're monitoring, and I think we just have to keep monitoring. And I think it's a worthwhile endeavor in general. If we can find ways of making it a little bit easier on staff in the facilities department, I'm all for that. And I've expressed that, so see where it goes.
Great. Okay. And I would say if there's anything in terms of the information that you're concerned with being public, please.
No, it's really, I wanted to give you guys a courtesy of, saying I'm gonna release this information without, and I wanted you to know about it as well. So it's really straightforward. It's basic maintenance and utility costs and operations of the buildings.
Any comments, Diane, or concerns? Sushi.
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Good. Okay, those are our items. Do we have any members of the public who would like to speak in person or online? We do not. All right, well, that wraps up our meeting. We'll adjourn at 7:10. Thank you.
Thank